So I know that Iron Widow is a New York Times bestseller. It didn't have a tremendous uh, flashy sale when it first
Mhm.
comes out. At what point does it begin to pick up steam and become a number one New York Times bestseller? And why do you think it picked up steam?
I think it picked up steam as soon as the book announcement came out because that book announcement went quite viral. I think now it has over 10,000 likes or something on Twitter. And I think, yeah, right after the announcement, I was like, oh, wow, people are really interested in this because I was really doubting the concept because it didn't have a flashy sale at publishing. And then when you're in publishing, everyone's like, oh, if you don't sell in a six-figure deal, then your book is going to tank and no one's ever going to read it. So yeah, there's that level of cynicism among published the community, even though it is possible to make a career on the mid list. But yeah, I think just authors were super cynical about being on the mid list, and everyone's like, "Oh no, publishing doesn't support the mid list; it's dying." And there's a lot of that going on among authors. But as soon as the announcement came out and I saw the level of enthusiasm, I was like, oh snap! Like, yeah, this is something that like people are unexpectedly interested in. And then all my author friends told me to like not get too excited at the idea at all the hype that comes out during an announcement. They told me that it would die off after like a few days, but the hype for Iron Widow never really died off after that announcement. It just like it kept going for like a year and a half until it culminated in debuting at number one.
Well, I love wonderful dramatic irony, and I know
Yeah.
that you talked publicly in the past about your concern while you were writing that story that it was not going to be mainstream enough to be successful.
Yeah.
So, do you feel happy to have been proven so dramatically wrong?
Well, definitely, because so many people have told me that Iron Widow's success gives them the confidence they need to like write their stories, and especially I think yeah, part of the reason Iron Widow didn't sell flashily was because publishing didn't have any confidence that why sci-fi could sell. It just has like this bias against all forms of YA sci-fi, and I think middle grade sci-fi too because I did get a few rejections on Zachary and that was like, oh, that this is too sciency for us, like even though it's just video games. And so yeah, I think publishing really like it does not quite know what it's doing, and I think that like everyone in the industry can attest that it's basically just like throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks, and then if something doesn't stick then they're like, oh no, judging by this data this won't do well. But that's not really the best way to do things, but also like they want to be able to predict what could be successful, so they do like rely on that data, and they rely on like comp titles as a crutch. But also, so if something is not already on the shelves, then it's really hard to break in something fresh because they don't have data, they don't have comp titles, and they don't know how well they can't predict how well that book is going to do. So after Iron Widow did well, then it can serve as that like data point for other similar stories. So now publishers have something to point at and be like, yes, this can succeed. And I think I really hope that this helps a lot more people in the future.
Yeah, you provided a comp title that others will be able to use to convince publishing to pay attention. Although I
Mm-hmm.
was thinking as I was reading Zachary Yin that recently there have been some pretty high profile departures from publishing by editors with a number of complaints. But one of the complaints is they're spending all their time running the technical aspect of things because the senior people, and I'm assuming that they don't have access to YouTube or podcasts, so they're never going to know I'm going to say this, but
Yeah.
they don't even do email. They have their emails printed up so they can respond manually and then have the emails typed up by someone and sent back to them. I think, well, that's somebody that's never going to understand Zachary. That's
Yeah.
this is going to be well beyond them.
Yeah, it's that really baffles me about the higher ups of publishing. But yeah, I really do feel bad for the younger people who are just because like you don't go into publishing without passion for books. And it's really sad to think that like that passion could just be crushed by bureaucracy and all of those like non-tech savvy people, like really old people who are just running the scenes and trying to like predict what's gonna be hip in kid lit, but they don't even like if they don't even like do emails. So what's going on?
Of course, the obvious the obvious argument is if you knew and could predict with some regularity what is absolutely going to be successful, why is every book that you ever publish not a huge success?
Exactly. So yeah, I think publishers they don't know what they're doing quite as much as we hope they would.
That being said, any publishing professional who has appeared or who will appear on this show is a certified genius, understands
Yeah.
everything about the market. We love and respect all of them.
Yes, yes.